Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Going to be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Leicester City in the FA Cup quarter final. So I'm going to be giving you the questions that I was asked and I'm going to give you Solskjaer's responses to them. So Solskjaer provided injury updates on Edison Cavani and Anthony Martial, also discussed the importance of Paul Pogba, and also provides plenty of positive reinforcement for the recent work of Mason Greenwood. So anyway, let's get into the questions. So the first one, what's the latest with Edison Cavani? So Ollie's response was, we haven't really got to the bottom of it, but with Edison, he's worked really hard and he's joining training sessions and towards the end of training sessions when he needs to chop it up and feel 100% ready for the game. And he hasn't really gotten there yet, so it's down to him. He wants to be 100% when he joins in. He doesn't want to come in and look off the pace. So hopefully he can be ready for Sunday, but I'm not sure either because after the training yesterday he felt something that he couldn't travel with us. So that was all his response to that question. Yes, Edison Cavani didn't travel to Milan. Now, I'll give you the news on Edison Cavani on my recent video. Edison Cavani is leaving Manchester United. Football Insider said Edison Cavani has reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. Edison Cavani's contract with Man United expires in June, so we won't receive a transfer fee. Solskjaer did say, though, not so long ago that Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. Prior to that, though, he said that Cavani's future wasn't decided. Edison Cavani's father came out the other week and said that Cavani is unhappy at Man United. He doesn't feel comfortable in England and he said he wants to leave. But reports in Argentina said earlier on this season that Cavani's decided to leave Man United after one season. And he has rejected the contract extension because we have an option to trigger Edison Cavani's contract by a further year. But earlier on this season, there was narratives coming out saying that Cavani wanted to stay at Man United beyond this season and Solskjaer said he was set for contract extension talks. That hasn't been playing recently due to injury, but since Cavani's come in, he has made a fantastic impact. You know, we got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a one-year contract with an option of a second year. But anyway, now this was the second question. You spoke earlier about the importance of winning the first trophy and now have the chance both in the Europa League and the FA Cup to do so. Just how much difference do you think that can make for you going into next season with a trophy in your bag? So all his response to that was, I spoke earlier about trophies and it can hide sometimes what you're doing in the background. But for me, I feel we're improving all the time and getting closer to win a trophy. Could be a boost for everyone. Yes, it would be. We've had this before when winning the Carling Cup in 2006 with Vidic and Patrice Evra. And it was the first of many trophies. We feel or we hope a trophy can be a catalyst of more to come. So again, fair response from Ollie. And like I've said, Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United this year. Because obviously that would mark progress. So I'm saying the exact same thing as what Gary Neville said recently. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager and he's been Man United manager over 2 years and we haven't won a trophy since 2017 and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. A club of our stature needs to be winning trophies. But yeah, if we win a trophy this season and finish second in the league, I'll turn around and say that represents a good season for Man United and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. So, yeah, this was the third question. You've gone to the Etihad and you've gone to the San Siro and conceded no goals. How much confidence is that giving you going into the Leicester game? And how much confidence are you seeing in these players now, game by game? Ollie's response to that was the belief and the attitude is there. I have to say I'm impressed by the way they recover for each game because it's relentless. They are preparing at the highest level. It's not like we've had any gimmies in the draws. Every game has been won where you have to dig deep to win. This is another one. Leicester away, of course, we drew in the league against them and we know we have to defend well against them. They've got Vardy and Iheanacho with the form they're showing, and they've got quality in other players, the passes of Yori Tillemans, the runs of Perez, so we know we've got a game on our hands. So that's a fair response again from Ollie. So this question's regarding Pogba. We saw Paul's quality coming on, and you said earlier how important he will be for the rest of the season. With that in mind, how important is it to get him tied down to a new deal? He's only got 1 year left on his contract, and how confident are you that you can do that? Ollie's response to that was, I think everyone in the team, Paul included, is just focused on doing as well as we can this season. I don't think any energy will be used on the speculation. Of course, we've got discussions and talks, and when you see Paul play like tonight and come back training, that shows how much he cares for us and enjoys playing and how much we can benefit from having him here. So that was Ollie's response to that. But yeah, like I mentioned in regards to Pogba, Solskjaer has confirmed that we are in talks with Paul Pogba over a new contract. Solskjaer hopes Paul Pogba stays at Man United and signs a new contract. We've not yet made a formal contract offer. Yeah, Paul Pogba did score the goal in Milan. He came off the bench. That was Paul Pogba's first game since a 3-3 draw with Everton. Pogba's just come back from a thigh injury. Earlier on this season he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. Solskjaer's obviously come out and said that Paul Pogba cares about Manchester United. Earlier on this season we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. He could still leave in the summer, like I mentioned on my recent video. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. Pogba endured 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. Mino Raiola has been desperate to get his client out of the club. Mino Raiola did say, though, earlier on this season he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence, because Mino Raiola doesn't have a good relationship with Man United and he has been criticised a lot. He made the announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against Leipzig in the Champions League. But Pogba is our most expensive signing at the moment. We paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. I think he's in contention to start this one against Leicester because he didn't start against Milan. I think we should put him in more of an advanced role because he's more effective there, and Paul Scholes recently said Paul Pogba's best position is the left wing. But yeah, earlier on this season, Solskjaer suggested that Pogba could sign a new contract at the club. He says, we have a good dialogue with him. Anyway, next question. So this was it. Do you think he will be fit enough to play on Sunday? Also looking at how Victor Lindelof has been playing with Harry Maguire recently, it looks like they have become more of a solid defensive partnership. So Ollie's response to that was, we'll have to see how much he can play. I'm not sure if he can play 90 minutes or if he can start, but you see the impact he can make if he comes on as a sub. If he feels okay, maybe we can start him as well. We have to see who the riders and runners are after tonight. It's a long travel. We'll be back. We'll be late back, so we'll see. I hope he's ready to start. Victor and Harry, I thought they played really well last season as well. We had so many clean sheets last season as well. Victor and Harry have got a good understanding with each other, and they really built on last season. Then again, we've got other centre-backs who come on and do well when they get the chance. This is another question. This is regarding Greenwood. Mason didn't score tonight and he hasn't scored very much this season, but so all his response was, I knew you were going to say, but I bet your question was going to be about how well he plays. He's really matured and his performances are top class. Just a short response from Ollie on that particular question. But yeah, Greenwood hasn't really scored a lot this season, but I think he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. You know, he's made 80 odd first team appearances. He made his senior debut in 2019, and Greenwood has been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been part of the club for several years. And earlier on this season, he signed a new 4-year contract with Man United. Sometimes we play Greenwood out on the right-hand side, sometimes we play him centrally. Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood because he was in and out of the team. The start of this season will give Greenwood that number 11 shirt. This was another question, specifically through what is he doing from the outside. It seems like he holds the ball up really well, running in the channel, but you tell me what makes him a good striker. Ollie's response was definitely holds up play. His link-up play has improved so much. His physical strength has improved so much. His awareness has always been there, but he's getting the confidence. You know, this season has been a big step forward for him. The next step for him is to stop thinking about finishing, because he doesn't have to think about it. It's just instinct. Just do it. Just trust yourself. All the other bits are there. And that's what I tell him. He'll be fine. He'll really kick on soon. Now, this is another question. This is a second to last question of the press conference. Anthony Martial was in the France squad, but he wasn't involved tonight. Is that a concern for you that he can travel there and pick up an injury? Would he be fit for that? Not concerned at all. I just want Anthony fit. Same with Pogba. We just want them to go and play. They've missed too many games. This was a hip injury he got against AC Milan a week ago. We hoped he was going to be ready for West Ham and then he couldn't make that one. Then he was close to getting fit for this one. He couldn't make it, but hopefully he can make Sunday. I'm not sure because he's not reacted how we hoped. He's working hard to get the treatment in the pool. Light work and everything to get ready. That's the pleasing thing. He's just wanting to get fit and I think it will benefit him going to France and playing. So that was all his response to that. Yeah, Anthony Martial didn't make the trip to Milan because, as you all know, he's got a hip injury, sustained it in the first leg against Milan. He's a doubt for this game against Leicester. But Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. But earlier on this season, Solskjaer backed him to rediscover his form and he said he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. But he's been criticised a lot this season and a lot of United fans are saying we should sell him in the summer. This was the final question of the press conference. Just in terms of the defence, how much confidence do you have in the defenders that you've got? Because you're not conceding a lot of goals and are on a good run at the moment, but periodically you get linked with all these defenders. How much faith have you got in the guys that you have? All his response to that was sky high. We're used to speculation. Every goal you concede at Manchester United is going to be scrutinised. That's just the way it is. I know these boys have become so much stronger mentally, and to deal with these things, we work on things, When we had a setback like we did against Milan in the last minute, we had a little but a little bit of a meeting, and you saw against West Ham, and tonight that there was no chance we were going to let any goals in. They're proud defenders, even though they can play football, they can play out from the back and all this, but when you see defenders wanting to defend, you're pleased, of course. Zlatan Ibrahimovic had a good chance, but he's physically a monster, so you can't protect yourself against everything in football, but they're trying as well as they can. So, that was everything that was mentioned during the press conference. We're coming into this game on the back of a 1-0 win against AC Milan. It was a very good away performance by Manchester United. I wasn't expecting it. Maybe you can say in the first half we were a bit too passive in our approach, but I thought the second half we looked much better. Obviously when Paul Pogba came on, because he got the goal and made the impact. It was a 2-1 on aggregate over the course of the two legs, because obviously it was 1-1 in the first leg at Old Trafford. For large periods of the first leg, AC Milan dominated. They had chances, they had 2 disallowed goals. The only real positive from Man United perspective in the first leg was Amad Diallo Traore coming on and scoring his first goal for the club. It was a very, very good header, and it was a good through ball by Bruno Fernandes. Don't forget Maguire missed an absolute sitter in the first leg, hit the post from a yard out. It's the worst miss I've seen in football history. But yet AC Milan did have the upper hand going into the game in the second leg because they had that vital away goal. But yeah, we know who we've got in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. It's Granada, and we should be winning that. I think we're now the favourites to win the Europa League. We won our last league game against West Ham, beating them 1-0. Weren't the best of games. The goal came from an own goal from Craig Dawson. Reflecting on that win against West Ham, I'd say that assures us a top 4 finish, and it was back-to-back wins in the Premier League for Man United because we also beat Man City 2-0 at the Etihad. Good result against City, not only a good result, very good performance, and we could have had more than 2 goals. It was the first big team we'd beaten in the Premier League this season because we've struggled against the vast majority of the top 6 sides in the league this season. And I was surprised the way Solskjaer approached the game against City because he showed tactical flexibility. We did end Man City's 21-match winning run. We are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. So, yeah, we're in good form at the moment. We progressed to the FA Cup quarter-finals by obviously beating Watford in the 3rd round. We beat Liverpool in the 4th round, and we beat West Ham in the 5th round. This will be, though, a tough game against Leicester. Leicester are good. Brendan Rodgers is a very, very good manager. Brendan Rodgers has been Leicester manager for just over 2 years. He's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. He's managed quite a few clubs in his managerial career. Before Rodgers was at Leicester, he was at Celtic. He enjoyed a few years with them. Before he was at Celtic, he was at Liverpool. You can say he enjoyed one good season with Liverpool. Before then, he was at Swansea. And he's managed Reading and Watford before. Leicester were also very consistent under Claudio Ranieri because obviously they won the Premier League under Claudio Ranieri. But Brendan Rodgers has made quite a few signings since he became Leicester manager. He obviously brought Fofana in, brought Timothy Castagne in, brought Under in, brought Dennis Pryor in, brought Youri Tielemans in, brought James Justin in, and brought Perez in. I think Brendan Rodgers will be looking to make some signings in the summer transfer window. Leicester have got quite a few injuries. Under's been injured. James Justin's injured. I think he's James Justin out for the season. Dennis Pryor, I think, is out with injury. Ricardo Pereira's been out with injury. Harvey Barnes, who's definitely one of their key players, he's been out with injury. Wes Morgan, he's another player that's been out with injury. So yeah, there is quite a few. But what we've got to do tomorrow is keep Jamie Vardy at bay, because Jamie Vardy is a very, very good player. You know, don't forget Jamie Vardy risen up from non-league football. We've also got to keep Iheanacho at bay because he's another good player for Leicester. Wilfred Ndidi, he's one of Leicester's key players as well. James Maddison, he's actually out with injury, just remembered. And he's definitely one of Leicester's key players. Leicester, as you all know, have got Johnny Evans. I presume he'll be reuniting with Man United tomorrow. Johnny Evans was at Man United for quite a while. They've also got Marco Brighton. They've got Fuchs. They've got Peter Schmeichel as their goalkeeper. Don't forget, Leicester have let good players go. Don't forget they lost Harry Maguire to us in the summer of 2019. They lost Ben Chilwell to Chelsea last year. They also lost N'Golo Kante and Danny Drinkwater to Chelsea a few years ago. So Chelsea had done good business with Leicester in recent years. And Leicester also lost Riyad Mahrez to Man City back in the summer of 2018. We drew with Leicester earlier on this season 2-2 at the King Power Stadium. We did the double over them last season. We're beating them 2-0 at the King Power on the final league game of last season. That's what got us qualification for the Champions League. And we beat them 1-0 at Old Trafford. After Leicester, it is the international break. And then after that, we do play Brighton. And then I think it is Granada in the Europa League quarter-final. On my next video, I will be giving you my score prediction for this game against Leicester. Now, as you all know, Man United are planning a long-term future under Solskjaer. And like I've said time and time again, I don't think he is the long-term manager for Man United, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new contract worth £9 million a year, so we'll give him a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford did recently say that talks are set to begin any day on the new deal because later on this month, Ole enters the final year of his 3-year contract. I think he does deserve a new contract, Solskjaer, reflecting on the progress he's made. I think he does deserve at least another season at the football club. You know, next season will be his third full season. This is his second full season at the moment. You know, Ole has been Man United manager over 2 years. Reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. I've probably got to say he is the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, because we've enjoyed very good periods under him where we have seen consistency, and in some of them good periods he's got the best out of the team. And he's improved certain players. I think Solskjaer is going to get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window. Because we've obviously got John Murtaugh as our new director of football, and I said we needed a director of football because I said that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club, and John Murtaugh knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United for like 7 or 8 years, and Darren Fletcher is our technical director and he knows the club through thick and thin, and Solskjaer's obviously sat down with our new recruitment team and he's discussed our transfer targets and discussed our transfer plans for the summer in general. Woodward did a statement not so long ago and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. Our transfer budget has been revealed. It said it was £80 million. We know £80 million is nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want in. So Ollie's hoping to sell at least 4 players in the summer. He hopes to raise as much as £60 million, so that would take our transfer budget to £140 million. We have identified 5 key transfer targets for the summer. We're looking to get a striker. We're looking to get a holding midfielder. We're looking to get a centre-half. We're looking to get a right-back to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka. And it says we've also been looking at a few goalkeepers who could possibly replace De Gea. The summer transfer window will be Ollie's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. So far he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the club and he's spent almost £300 million. But as yet he hasn't got all the players he wanted to recommend in. I said the board has been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And then basically the managers that we've had since Ferguson haven't got the players they wanted to recommend in. But hopefully things will be different in the summer. Woodward has come out to show his support for Solskjaer several times, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. I've already told you my 2 biggest concerns about Solskjaer. That's his decision making. Because in a lot of his games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive, especially in a lot of the big games. But there's also been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility. But he needs to do that persistently. And my other concern is he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. But to say that, he's done well at Manchester United. Do you think Solskjaer's got to identify his best 11 at the club? He's made a lot of rotation in the team, since he's come in, and he's tried different formations and that. So tried a few different elements. But we've got to credit him in quite a few aspects, We are second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League. We know we're not going to win the league this season, but I can assure we'll finish in the top 4. It's just very imperative that we get qualification for the Champions League. He's got us to the FA Cup quarters. He's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. He did well last season in his first full season, to his credit. We went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. He got us to 3 semi-finals last season and got us a 3rd place finish. Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of players since he came in. But I've got to say, there's been progress this season from last season. So that just shows Solskjaer's getting better and better. You know, he is our fourth permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. But, you know, when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from him anyway. I think with Ollie being a club legend, that's probably kept him in the job, because we've endured very bad periods under him where he can turn around and say, yeah, he was lucky not to be sacked. But even if we decided to sack him, you know, it wouldn't have solved anything anyway, because we're not even really known as a sacking club, despite the fact that we sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.